and pass do both well, that's where you see them struggle with trying to find a way to stop the run.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm expecting them not to do what they did against Tennessee, which is, you know, keep one of your best defensive linemen out of the game. You know, that can really stop the run. We've been playing some young guys in the middle too, you know, and they're getting better, but they're not there. You know, actually, I'm expecting them to do a pretty good job against the running back for Oakland.
Yeah, Jacobs.
Yeah. I'm expecting that.
Okay.
I'm expecting them to make Carr beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, well, to me, all right, I think Kansas City is going to win this game, and to me, the keys to victory for KC, let Mahomes be Mahomes, let him do what he do, and then also I think if you guys can make Carr beat you guys, so if you're able to shut down the run, you know, put 8-9 in the box and make Carr throw the ball, I think that the pass rush has to get there.
And by the way, where has the $105 million man been?
I was just about to mention that. I think Frank Clark needs to show up in this game here.
Oh, my goodness. This whole year I've been screaming at the television.
It's crazy to me how y'all let D Ford go. Y'all traded D Ford, which I get for him.
Second round pick.
And then I traded a first for Frank Clark, didn't you?
Yes.
So,
hold on. It was a first and a second.
Really?
Yes. Seattle got the better end of that deal. You know,
they fucked around, got Clowney too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you want to talk about good manipulation? You know, it's like watching Andy Reid get rid of Cobb for something. You know, we got bamboozled on that one.
And the thing with that one, like D Ford, he was the better pass rusher, and I guess you guys went after Frank Clark because he's quote like in theory the better all around player.
Yes, his ability to stop the run, but
set the edge on the run and then also rush the passer. But honestly, you probably was better off just paying D Ford at that point and moving forward. That's the one thing about KC. Yeah, I had a devastating pass rush last year.
Yeah.
As bad as the defense may have been,
we were number one, tied in the league.
That pass rush was crazy. Like you had Chris Jones rushing up the middle. You had D Ford coming off the edge.
Along with Justin Houston.
Yeah. Now at that point, I don't see that same KC pass rush. So I think Frank Clark needs to step up this game. But I mean, you guys got Patrick Mahomes. Oakland secondary, I don't really hear much about them. So I think Mahomes is going to have one of those days. And honestly, like Kansas City is favored by 9.5. I can see something of that line there. I think you guys put up a good 35 points on them on the Oakland defense. I say score like 35-13.
I can see it going two ways.
Putting the nail in the coffin on Oakland.
I can see it going two ways. I can see it ending up the type of game that you just described. Or I can see Kansas City inflicting pain on themselves. You know, a Shady McCoy fumble here or there. Sammy Watkins not catching the ball, you know, a drop here or there.
Yeah.
Or him catching the ball, you know, having a good yak performance and then fumbling.
Yeah.
Right. I can see because that the team has been playing that way this year.
Yeah.
You know, where they hurt themselves. And if that happens, Oakland could mess around and steal this game. You know,
I feel you.
So if I feel like if the team come out focus, right, pay attention to the details, I think they win big.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. Like you got a chance to go ahead and fucking put your foot on their throat at this point.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's
crush their playoff hopes.
And it's at home. That crop. We've been to Kansas City.
We have.
You don't really appreciate that Kansas City Lotta Stadium shit until you're actually in that environment.
Yes.
I couldn't hear nothing. I couldn't hear nothing.
Yes.
It was a deafening roar. I'm like, oh my God, this shit is real. And you get the
it was all game.
All game long. They bring it all game long. With that like atmosphere, division rivalry or not, man, that's hard to beat.
Yes.
And
that's what I'm saying. We know Andy Reid record coming off a bye. He has been tremendous.
Yeah.
You know,
Death
spectacular.
and taxes, man.
You know,
I think Tyreek goes off. I think Kelsey goes off.
I think you see a few plays that I believe Andy Reid's been holding back on some of his plays this year. You know, you haven't seen any of those creative designs really. But I think this is a perfect time for him to pull a little something off, you know.
Yeah. But I got 35-13. What you got?
This one is tough because you know it's my heart. You know, I'm gonna go with the same kind of like score.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna go going to say 31-27. 31-27.
Closer game.
Yeah.
Okay. High scoring.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Let's go ahead and talk about New England, Houston.
Let's do it.
New England is traveling to Houston. Houston is actually the underdogs, -3 or +3.5. I like Houston in this game. New England's defense is elite, for lack of a better term. That defense is legit, man. And the only team, Baltimore Ravens, is the only team I've seen that had like legitimate success against that defense. Where, I mean, like our offense is going to give anybody trouble. It's just something that you don't see,
right?
You know what I mean? And maybe the second time around, if we play them, then it might be a different story.
I don't think it would be.
Which, shout out to Lamar, but
that was a old school. I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah, hat on the hat.
Yeah,
we coming at your asses.
Yeah, I love that.
Stop me if you can. But this game here, Watson obviously has a different skill set than Lamar Jackson, but he's still an elite quarterback in this league. This is a Sunday nighter. I think that the combination of him, Hopkins, and then also they got a decent run game with Carlos Hyde. The offensive line is really iffy.
They are.
Like 1 week they're like great, and the next week they're not. New England has an excellent defense. However, I don't see New England with like a dominant pass rusher. They kind of beat you with blitzes and schemes. You know what I mean? Their secondary is fucking elite. But with that being said, I think Watson has to find some success in this game. My main thing on this one though is Tom Brady has looked averaged this season. And you look at Tom Brady's stats, like he has 15 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Mm-hmm. So he's not making crucial mistakes. However, I think this game that he's going to have to put up some points. Mm-hmm. And I think Houston gets it done at home.
And I think Watson get it done with his arm and his legs.
I agree.
In this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Running the ball in a very smart way when necessary.
I think he pushes the ball down the field to Hopkins, Fuller. What's the other receiver name? The slot guy, Wills. I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to blank.
But yeah, still Kenny Stills. I think they get established a decent run game, or try to at least for the most part. But I think ultimately it comes down to Watson. I think he makes the necessary plays to win this game for Houston, even against that New England defense. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Like, give me a score of 21 to 21-14. But I think Watson magic continues, and I think he puts together. I think this game kind of puts Watson back into that MVP conversation.
Yeah.
I think he has one of those type of games where he doesn't make any mistakes. He makes the good plays. I can see a game like 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Even though, like I said, New England's defense is elite, but there are some quarterbacks that just be able to go ahead and dice them up, or like have the potential to go in and dice them up. And I think this is one of those games. And I think Tom Brady, again, he just kind of continues down the same path he's been all season, where he can't throw the ball further than 25 yards down the field. Like they're just ducks.
Yes.
I think Houston comes in with the game plan where we're going to take that away, like the short, quick slants and screens and shit like that. They're going to make them work for every single yard that they get. And it's going to be a tough offensive game for New England. I can see Tom Brady having a rough game again. And Houston pulling this one off 21-14.
I'm going 24-20 Houston. I believe Houston wins. And by the way, Houston win this game. New England next opponent is Kansas City. I think Mahomes is going to be up for that game. He lost to Tom Brady, right? Twice. And the last loss was a real stinger, right?
Fucking offsides.
Yes.
Offsides to a Super Bowl, man.
Yes. Yes. So I think Kansas City is going to be ready for that game.
Yeah.
Right? So with that being said, if Houston pulls off this win, and we're looking at it, Buffalo may be in position to take this division.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Also with this one here, if Houston wins and Baltimore wins, we take over the 1 seed in the AFC. So I'm kind of
so you're rooting for that.
Crossing my fingers for that. Yeah. And this is one of those games I think that it can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Father Time is catching up right now.
Yeah. Tom Brady is not. You know what's crazy though? Tom Brady is so good that his bad season, I said it last week, his bad season is like a Joe Flacco good season. Like 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I'm taking that from Flacco all day. Mm-hmm. But Tom Brady, you expect more.
You do.
So, I mean, he's having a quote unquote down year, but at the same time, it's just like, don't make the mistakes.
You're right.
Which he doesn't turn the ball over much. But yeah, I think Houston have a good game this one. I think they win. I think they pull this one off. All right, let's go back up to Baltimore San Fran. To me,
this is the game of the week for me.
This is the game of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So far into the season, you got the 9-2 Baltimore Ravens against the 10-1 San Francisco Niners.
Now, where's this game being played?
It's in Baltimore.
It's in Baltimore. Okay.
And on top of that, they did not flex it. It's a 1 p.m. start, which was huge for me because I think we need kind of every advantage that we can get in going into this game. Mm-hmm. You got a West Coast team flying to the East Coast and then playing basically at 10 o'clock in the morning for them. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of gives us a little edge there as well.
Now, I tell you, as a fan, I'm kind of disappointed that they did not flex this game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, but, you look at it, they probably could have flexed it to 4 o'clock. But, I mean, you really can't flex out New England, Houston, because that's a big game. And you really can't flex out a Monday nighter. You can't do that. So maybe they could have flexed it to a 4 o'clock game and have it be like nationally televised as a 4 o'clock. But I'm glad they kept it at 1 personally. Mm-hmm. Now, keys to the game for me on this one, San Fran's front seven is crazy. Like I looked at they got the best defensive line in the league, hands down. They probably have the best front seven in the league, hands down.
And them boys is balling.
And they come after you.
Yes, they do.
They come after that ass.
Nonstop.
And on top of that, we lost our center for the season last week with
I saw that.
with a knee injury, which I was like, fuck. And initially they diagnosed it as a sprain, but then as they did the MRIs and X-rays, they knew it was further.
It was worse than what they thought.
Yeah, and then our backup, the center that came in, he's a rookie undrafted free agent, but he's been solid since training camp. Like I thought he was going to win the starting job. At one of the offensive line positions.
Really?
Yeah, coming into the season. But
is he a smart kid?
He's a smart kid.
Because you wonder about a backup center coming in, especially a rookie,
right?
Because they're charged with calling the protection.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's one thing I am nervous about because it changes the whole dynamic of our offensive line. We had this offensive line playing with one another since week 1. Nothing has changed, and now we have a brand new starting center who he came in last week, and obviously the game was out of hand at that point. So he played. He performed well, but now it's a fresh game plan. And you got the responsibilities of calling our protection, and then also getting the rhythm down with Lamar Jackson snapping the ball. Because we run an offense where it's a lot of motion. We do the motion where we bring like a tight end pull in before they call the snap, and it's like every time it's perfect. So now he has to get that down packed to make sure that we're running that correctly and there's no mishaps there. So I'm a little nervous about that, especially going against this defensive line. San Francisco also has an elite secondary as well. So I kind of think that they definitely are going to take away the deep ball with our man Hollywood Brown. But with that being said, San Fran has yet to go against a team that is going to be as physical as them up front.
As they are, yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's hat on a hat football. We're coming downhill. It's no like questions of what we're about to do. We're about to run this fucking ball down your throat. Can you stop it? For the 7 straight weeks, nobody has been able to stop it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a proven league.
So, I mean, right now, the main battle I think that everybody's going to be watching is going to be Baltimore's offense and Lamar Jackson against San Francisco's defense.
In particular, that O-line versus that D-line.
Right. That's a matchup I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on, the O-line versus the D-line.
The big uglies in there mixing it up. Yeah.
Seeing how they be able to hold up there. Even though, like, we still got one of the best, like, left tackle, right guard, right tackle. I'll take our combination of that over anybody else in the league right now. But then, like, a left guard and center, that's our weakest position. So I think San Fran kind of trying to take advantage of that there. On the other side of the ball, Baltimore's defense against San Francisco offense, I think this is where Baltimore wins this game. Jimmy Garoppolo, at first, wasn't a big fan of Jimmy Garoppolo. And he showed me a couple of games where if he needs to get it done, he can get it done. You know what I mean? Now, I don't expect him to come out and be Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, or Patrick Mahomes. but he can be one of those quarterbacks if you need him